off with last time, that is the type of habitat, which is terrestrial habitat, right? In terrestrial habitat, these are of various types. It could be forest, grassland, desert, mountain, and polar region. Anything to do with land and not water will fall under terrestrial, right? Anything to do with land and not water will fall into terrestrial, terra. I hope all of you remember, terra means land, terra means earth. The word terracotta. What is terracotta? The art of making pots or puppets with clay, right? So that's known as terracotta. Okay. Now, even under terrestrial, we will study. Okay, so this is the second one in habitat, which is aquatic. We studied that aquatic is of two types, freshwater and marine, and the third one is coastal.
Now, coastal means near the near the sea, right?
Near the sea, correct. The habitat is very different because it is a little sandy. Still, there is water. Very different from desert. Desert has no water, just sand. But coastal has both. Still, we will basically we will study about forests, grasslands, deserts, mountains, and polar regions. What is forest? Going back to Yashika, what is forest?
Ma'am, forest is a huge mass of land which is mostly covered with trees and wild animals live.
Correct. So basically,
wild
forest
animals habitats.
Correct. So basically, forest habitat is a place where the trees, the plants, the shrubs, the herbs, the grass, everything is very closely, closely populated like this. If the tall trees are like this, then the shrubs will be like this, and then the grass will be like this. So, the amount of sunlight actually getting into a forest is less. This is actually what happens in Amazon forest. You would be surprised to know that Amazon forest is so thick, the greenery on the foliage is so thick that there are certain areas which are pitch dark, even in broad sunlight, broad daytime. Why is it so dark here? Because the foliage out here is so bushy that sunlight just cannot penetrate inside. Right? So it is so bushy, but not all forests are so bushy and so thick in foliage. So that is what we are going to study.
Can you just tell me what is foliage?
Foliage means a lot of those green trees and green plants, greenery basically. Foliage means a lot of greeneries. Okay. What are grasslands? Grasslands are basically areas or terrains where the grass is a dominant living organism there. The grass could be as tall or maybe even taller than us. 4 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet height of grasslands, right? So that is what we know as grasslands, correct? Then we have deserts. Deserts are the most driest of area, very, very dry, no moisture at all, no water, devoid of lakes, rivers, or any water bodies. That's desert. Mountain, of course, we know that's a terrain which is, uneven, rocky terrain. The altitude from the sea level is very high. So the level of oxygen over there is less. Mountains could be of several types.
Now right? It's an uneven, bumpy place. It looks like a really big bumpy place.
Correct. So you really need to carve out roads, to make it a little smooth for your cars or for your vehicles to go, or even for you to tread the path. Right?
Yeah, so it's kind of hard to climb it if there is no road. If the mountain is rocky.
Correct. So now we come to forests, right? Because it is so lush green, there are most of the time we find wild animals staying there. Wild animals that are, little scared to come out in public, who are scared of human being, right? Dogs, cats, horses, they are not scared of human being, right? They live in city life, they can befriend human beings, but there are certain animals which are either scared or which are either shy of human beings. So they are known as wild. And to us, they are pretty dangerous. They cause a lot of damage. So that is how you define wild animals. Right?
Ma'am, why wild animals are shy?
See, you would find not all animals are friendly. If you see a dog is very friendly, is a very friendly animal. A cow is a very friendly animal. Horses are friendly. Elephants also to an extent are friendly, but not all kinds of elephants. They shy away because, they are either scared, thinking that, we will cause damage to them, or else, just like human beings, a few of us are shy, a few of us are extrovert. Same applies to animals.
Yeah, we get kind of shy when someone new, a stranger or someone comes to our house or comes near us.
Correct. So this is a personality trait even for the animals. Right. So now coming to forests, the types of forests to start with, we'll start with tropical forests. Right. In tropical forests, what happens is that, okay, I'll give you a homework at the end of the class. Right. So it occurs between the equator and the two tropics. So if this is the earth, right? If that's the earth, this is the equator out here. These are the two tropics, one at the top and one at the base. So all the forests lying in this area would come under the tropical forest. That's how we get the name tropical, because it's in between the two tropics. They're also known as the rainforests. Why? Because I'm sure all of you know from wherever this line, the equator goes, that area is extremely hot, isn't it? We are all aware of that. And if there is a lot of heat here, of course, it will take away all the water from the water bodies. So the water cycle is very active in these areas. So the neighboring areas will have a lot of rainfall. That is the beauty of the planet Earth. So if there is a lot of rainfall, it will have a lot of vegetation. What does vegetation mean? Vegetation means a lot of plants will grow. Different species of plants will grow. And if there are a different species of plants, different species of insects will be there. Different species of herbivores will be there. Different species of carnivores, scavengers, microorganisms. So the variety of living organisms is huge in this area. Fortunately, India falls under this tropical area, right? And the amount or the variety of animals, plants, microorganisms available in India is extremely diverse. It is very high as compared to, other countries which do not fall in this area. For example, if you a country like Canada, right? Canada doesn't fall.
I have a doubt.
Yeah.
This terrestrial are defined are classified into different kinds, right? Then again, forests are defined into another types, right?
Correct. Yes.
In that types you're explaining, right now?
Correct. Yes, I'll draw a flowchart for you that will make things easier. Okay. But let me just explain this portion. For example, Canada is just restricted to just a few flora and fauna. Do you all know what is the meaning of flora and fauna?
Yeah, ma'am, I know.
What is flora?
Flora means nature or plants. Fauna means animals.
Correct. So basically Canada has a limited amount of flora and fauna, right? Whereas a country like India, a country like Brazil, which has got Amazon forest, which is the biggest and the most diverse and the most interesting forest, have diverse life forms, diverse flora and fauna, right? So
aquatic we can do like
seawater,
and then
freshwater, and coastal.
What's coastal? I didn't get coastal.
Neha just asked, no? Neha, tell what is coastal? We just explained.
Yeah, ma'am, I can. The place which is near to the sea is known as coastal.
Correct. Which has got both sand as well as sea. Right?
The beach, something like the beach.
Something like the beach, but it's a few kilometers even away, or few kilometers of radius of the sea.
Yeah, a beach near the sea, something of that kind.
A beach is a coastal area, but it would be beyond the beach. A few villages away also would also fall under the coastal region. For example, if this is India, right, and this is Kerala out here, right, we always know that Kerala is a coastal state. Why coast? Because it has got the sea here. Even Karnataka here, so this entire region, this much region will be known as the coastal area of Karnataka, but not these areas. This much area of Kerala will be known as the coastal region or the coastal area, but not this portion, because here we have the forest land, we have certain mountains, we have Munnar, right? So that will not be coastal belt, that will be mountain again. India is a very interesting place, Okay. Now
Kerala, most of the part is covered, almost half of the part is covered in ocean, in the coastal part.
Chennai?
Almost half of the part seems like coastal.
Yeah, but there are also, grasslands, there are also forests. The Mudumalai forest, the national parks that's there,
Yeah, and even the place where we need to stay, our home, our buildings they build there.
So now under terrestrial, what all do we have, Neha? Tell me.
Ma'am, under terrestrial we have tropical. Under terrestrial we have forests, grasslands, deserts, polar region.
Correct. Polar and mountain. Now we are discussing forest. Now even out of forests we have tropical, boreal, temperate, right? We have different kinds of forest. So these are so many kinds of habitats. So many, right? Yashika, the reason why we are not discussing aerial now is that, we really don't have much of a variety in aerial. Except for that, maybe aerial could be a little places like the polar regions, but we hardly have any birds. We hardly have much birds except for the Siberian crane, right? And the normal places. So aerial, we don't have much. And any
Ma'am, tropical forest. Tropical forests, tropical forests are the forests in which we get a lot of rain, and there are many animals. There are usually a few lakes around.
Where are they located? Why are they called tropical?
Ma'am, because they are located on the equator.
Not on the equator, no. Not on the equator, but which is the area that it covers?
Ma'am, it covers the area between the equator and the two tropics of Cancer and Capricorn.
Correct. So basically it covers the area from one tropic to the other tropic crossing the equator. Okay, that's the reason why it is also known as a tropical forest. And what is the temperature usually? From 20 to 34 degrees Celsius.
Mom, I didn't get it. On the equator, I didn't get that.
It's not on the equator. It's basically, crossing the equator. See, I had drawn it before also. If this is the equator, this is one tropic, this is the other tropic, the Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn. So a tropical rainforest would ideally cover.
I'm not pretty sure that like Yashika knows that about Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn.
So even if you don't know Yashika, you'll have to find it out, right? So because class 6, ideally you should have studied in your geography class, okay? The rainfall varies from 20 degree to 34 degrees Celsius. Sorry, the temperature, right? And the rainfall is pretty high. It's 200 centimeter annually. Matlab in 1 year. It's pretty high. So if the rainfall is pretty high, so imagine the amount of vegetation would also be pretty high. Okay. Now we come to the temperate forest. What are temperate forests? Temperate forests are forests which are found in the northeast part of Asia, right? We also find it in North America and we find it in Central Europe, right? Temperate means here the temperature would normally sway between minus 30 degrees Celsius, matlab very cold, to pretty warm. 30 degrees Celsius is pretty warm, right? The annual rainfall is also good. It is 150 centimeter. They have a proper...
I didn't understand what you were telling annual rainfall. Like,
Sorry, tell me.
Mama, I didn't understand what you're explaining right now.
See, I'm just trying to tell you that a temperate forest, right? A temperate forest normally is found in North America, right? Where either in North America or in Central Europe, right? And there, the temperature that you find there is basically either very cold or very hot. Not very hot, but hot. Minus 30 is pretty cold, right? And 30 degrees is like as warm as India. We also find pretty good amount of rainfall because the temperature is good, the rainfall is also good there, right? And they have a proper summer season and they have a proper winter season. Winter season is like very cold and summer season is very warm. For example, as I said, you know, in a country like Canada, you know, when they say North America, that means, you know, that part of Canada and those, you know, normally the countries or the cities in the northern side, right? There, the trees are deciduous trees. So what is the meaning of deciduous? That means they don't get enough sunlight. They don't get enough water. Everything is pretty frozen. So that is the time when they start losing leaf. And then again, when the winter season comes down, when the temperature is like 10 degree, that is when, you know, the new buds, new leaves and everything comes up and then they again regain their leaves. So that is the meaning of deciduous, means annually they will lose all their leaves. The entire tree will become like a khali tree, empty tree with just the branches and the stem.
Okay, they lose the leaves annually?
Annually, yes. They would lose it annually. That is the meaning of deciduous trees.
Okay.
So temperate forests are forests, right, which are found in Northeast Asia. So, you know, there are certain parts in China, there are certain parts in Japan. You know, I'm sure all of you know Japan, when it's during the winters, it's pretty cold. It is, you know, to an extent of even minus 15 degrees Celsius. And summers are warm. Summers, you know, can go up to 30 degree or 32 degree. So in these areas, you will find during the winters, November, December, none of the trees have any leaf. They've all fallen. Certain parts of China are like very cold. Certain parts of China have got the desert. Right? So that's the example of temperate forests. Now we come to boreal forests. What are boreal forests? Boreal forests are forests which also are called the taiga forest. Taiga, right? These forests are scattered over many places which include China, Canada, Russia, northern Japan, etc. These are a little more extreme, right? There are parts of Canada, there are parts of China, as I said, you know, for example, if this is China, right? You'll have to go to the northern part, right? So even in the northern part, this extreme north will be extremely cold.
It is tiger forest or tiger forest?
Taiga.
Okay.
Okay. So this portion, the southern area, or you know, this portion would be a little more or less like the Asian countries. A little tropical. This place could be a little deserty, right? But this portion would be extremely cold, right? To an extent that it could also go till minus 50 degrees Celsius. Same with Canada. You know, because a part of Canada which is towards the, you know, for example, if this is Canada, I am not able to draw the map of Canada. If this is the earth, right? So it is very close to the northern pole. So you can imagine the amount of cold that this place is exposed to. It is very cold because it's close to the northern pole. America is somewhere here. So this place will still be okay, but this portion is deadly cold to an extent that it could be minus 50 degrees Celsius. And there are certain portions during the summers, if not 30, but it could be at least 10, 20, etc. And they have an annual snowfall. Obviously, if it's close to the polar region, polar belt, there will be snowfall during the winters, and it is as good as high as 40 to 100 centimeter of snowfall. Can you imagine? In your garden, your scale, normally the long scale that you have is of 30 centimeter. So if you dig 4 such scale or maybe 3 such scale, that would be 90 centimeter. That much of thickness of snow below your feet. Can you imagine?
No, I can't imagine even.
So that is the kind of temperature that's there during winters. But the fact is that wahan pe bhi, there are certain trees which grow. There is a habitat. There are certain plants, animals, microbes which still stay in those boreal forests.